Saturday night softball on Long Island sees a good one from Bill Edwards Stadium. It's AFP softball featuring the Chattanooga Steam and the New York Rise on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome into the broadcast booth. She's Maria Tribalpiece. I'm John Perez. Maria, New York finally let the frustrations out yesterday. It was a mercy-induced victory for New York, and they're trying to keep the good times rolling.
All week long, we've been saying that we want to see offense from the Rise, and it certainly showed up yesterday, along with the defense and the pitching.
Yeah, New York had it all going on last night. As we take a look at the highlights from last night, they dropped 2 of 3 to Oklahoma City, arguably one of the best teams in the league as well, and 4 they needed to have and looking to keep the momentum in the final week of the regular season. We pick it up, bottom 1-0 lead for Chattanooga. Runners on the corners for McKenna Smith, and Smith puts one into orbit, a 3-run home run, her 5th of the season, 3-1 New York. Next inning, 4-1 now the score. Smith, how about another big knock? This time it's a single, but heads-up base running by Ashley Trueweiler and Jenna Laird score. That makes it 6-1. New York's defense came to play as well. Top of the 4th, Morgan Smith sends it deep to left field. Riley Blampede, get up. Robs a home run from Smith. Take another look. The Rise, loving it, hugs all around. Bottom half of the inning, Sammy Williams at the dish with a runner on second, and she cranks it over the fence. That's a 2-run home run. Her first round tripper of the season makes it 9-1. Now bottom 5, 10-1 the score for New York. Ashley Trueweiler hits it on the ground. It eats up Sydney Kuma. Riley Blampede comes in to score. Mercy roll is on as New York wins it 11-1. They pick up their 8th victory of the year. And for New York, it's been a fun year for them as well, and, it was tough, obviously, losing 2 out of 3 over to Oklahoma City, but 2 players that have picked it up, and our players to watch today, has been Riley Blampede, who has played well over the last 2 days, as well as McKenna Smith.
Riley Blampede in that last game against Oklahoma City had a big 2-run RBI single, and she's been hot ever since then. You see her numbers right there, 2 for 5 with the RBIs that I already mentioned. In addition to that, defensively, you saw that catch that she made. And then McKenna Smith, you go 3 for 3 with a home run and all those RBIs. Absolutely incredible. A lot of fun to watch.
And McKenna Smith was very laudatory of Riley Blampede, who said that she wasn't in a slump. She was having good at-bats. It was just a matter of time before the hits came, and the glove also helps as well. So those are the 2 players to watch. We'll meet the starting 9 now for Crash McCray and his crew, as it is a pretty similar lineup, but of course shuffling the defense as Trueweiler will lead things off. Jenna Laird at shortstop with Alex Honnold in center field. McKenna Smith moves from third base to behind the plate. Sammy Williams then takes over her spot at third base. Kayla Weidel in left field. Riley Blampede at second base. Lenny Malkin, the DP, and Sydney McCray out in right field. So that is New York. Let's meet Chattanooga on the other side. And listen, it was a tough day at the office, and we just spoke to Amy Davidson, the interim head coach, and she said, we just got to get off to a better start. But 2 players to keep an eye on today is TJ Webster and Sydney Kuma.
I love the way that TJ Webster got things going for this team yesterday. She utilized her speed, hitting the ball hard and on the ground. If she can continue that tonight, she can get this team going, just like she did yesterday in the first inning. And Sydney Kuma was somebody that Amy Davidson just had so much praise for. She said, look, she had an ankle injury that she's been coming back from. She's only about 60% healthy right now, but she's pushing through it and being very successful in it.
The numbers you see there, of course, Webster, her numbers at Western Kentucky, and for Kuma, the Georgia Bulldog, those are her numbers there. Amy Davidson rolls out this starting 9, as well as it will be Webster at the top of the order, Kaylee Tao at first base, Sarah Mosley at third base, with Kuma in the cleanup spot at second base, Morgan Smith out in center field. Just a fun player to watch. More on Smith later on. Alea Logaleo is out in left field with Haley Busby in right field. Allie Cummings is the DP, and Leah Boggs is behind the plate. And for 2 of these teams looking to pick up the victory here today as well, we'll go to our keys of the game, as it is the Steam and the Rise.
For this team, it's quite simple, right? You have to limit the errors. That was one thing Amy Davidson said to us pregame. She said, look, with the way that we play defensively, it's very difficult to win softball games. But just like that, you have to have a quick memory, come back on night 2 and try to clean it up a little bit. For the Rise, you want to keep grinding out those at-bats, right? They've been so disciplined at the plate that led to a lot of runs. You want to keep that offense going and the good defense and pitching as well.
It's the Steam, it's the Rise. Starting lineups and first pitch when we come back on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
Hey parents, how about a bobblehead for your athlete? Bobbleheads are one of the most preferred personalized gift items today, and it's so easy to order. All you need is a photo of your athlete, a model number from our extensive collection of bobbleheads, and the sculpting process begins. 2 proofs are sent for your approval, and once it's approved, in a few weeks, your bobblehead is on the way. It's that simple. Order your bobblehead today by logging into varsitymediapass.com and click catalogs, or call 516-403-2050.
When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the fall, but spots are limited. Contact us today for football, soccer, field hockey, and volleyball by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
New York Rise fans, at this time we'd like to acknowledge our good friends at Hofstra, New Balance, Wilson, Azure Transportation, Vincent's Clam Bar of Long Island, Erica Cole Salon, Polsky Sports and Entertainment, Prince Station, Catcher Matrix, and Lululemon. We appreciate all that you do to help support pro women's softball in New York. Rise up. And while we have time, hey teams, let Varsity Media help bring your games to life with our sportscasts from multiple camera angles, play-by-play coverage, instant replay graphics, and more. Varsity Media is ready to broadcast your sport. Our YouTube channel has over 33,000 subscribers, over 6 million views of our content. That's a lot of eyeballs to help you get noticed. Contact us today to learn more at varsitymedia.net or any social media channel at Varsity Media. That said, we'll send it over to our public address announcer, Peter Schwartz, for the introduction of the starting 9 for both teams.
And now the starting lineup for 19, Ryan Henry. Number 20, Sarah Cornell. Number 29, Shanice Dels. Number 42, Courtney Weish. And number 66, Caroline Wang. And now the starting lineup for the Rise. Leading off and playing first base, number 50, Ashley Trierweiler. Batting second and shortstop, number 3, Jenna Laird. Batting third in center field, number 25, Alex Hunnell. Batting fourth, catcher, number 21, McKenna Smith. Batting fifth, the third baseman, number 7, Sammy Williams. Batting sixth, the left fielder, number 6, Kayla Waddell. Batting seventh, the second baseman, number 26, Ronnie Blampede. Batting eighth, the designated player, number 22, Lenny Malkin. And batting ninth, the right fielder, number 99, Sydney McCray. The starting pitcher for the Rise, number 24, Lauren Green. Rise head coach is Crash McCray. Coach McCray assisted by Tony Marie Valeriano and Lisa Iancu. The umpires for tonight at first base, John Cambridge. At third base, Alex Leap. And behind the plate is Mario Calabrese. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise if you are able. Please remain standing and remove your hats to honor America and those who protect our freedoms with the singing of our national anthem. Focusing on topics of hope, motivation, and resilience through empowering conversations. Now in its 13th year, the Donna Drake Show features interviews with celebrity entertainers, sports legends, top journalists, business moguls, authors, motivational speakers, medical professionals, health and wellness experts, community staff icons, chefs, nonprofit groups, and everyday heroes sharing their stories of triumph, inspiration, and perseverance. Rise fans, after a great job singing the national anthem, let's give a huge round of applause to Donna Drake. Donna, it's your pick. Donna, first pitch is at 7 o'clock. I will call on a strike.
First pitch by Donna Drake. I don't know what was longer, the introduction or the pitch, but either way, we're ready to go. And Ready for some softball. Game 2, Chattanooga and New York. She's Maria Tribal-Peace. I'm John Perez. And you spoke to Amy Davidson before the game. She said that it was just one of those days, unfortunately. But you know what, Maria? If you're going to parse it, you can't just look at the box score. They left a couple of runners on base, had good scoring opportunities. They had the bases loaded in the 4th inning, 2 on and 1 out in the following inning, and just were not able to cash in. And if you get a hit in one of those innings, I'm not saying that that's the difference between a loss and a victory, but you don't get the mercy rule so early and you give yourself a chance in innings 6 and 7.
Well, that was one thing when I went back and watched some of last night's game is that really stood out to me is both the pitching and some of the at-bats that the team had. So just pitching-wise, the pitchers got ground ball outs. The defense behind them just wasn't able to make the plays. And then offensively, they were swinging at some good pitches, but kind of like you said, John, just not getting that timely hit. So I think that when you're looking at a game like that, the box score looks a little skewed, right? You got mercy ruled 11-1, but the thing is there were some good things in that game, and especially with a team like this team who is a first-year team, a lot of young players on it, you want to look at those good things and say, all right, this is what we did right. Let's just do more of those things right and limit some of those errors. And
it's really simplified, and that's just something that you can't think about the task as a large task. You have to break it down little by little. As Lauren Krings gets the start today for New York, she last pitched against Oklahoma City early on, and there you see the record 0-1, 6.36 ERA, and someone who was good in the final 3 innings against the Spark and now trying to get New York the series victory here tonight.
And, we've talked so much about how good the offense is from the Oklahoma City Spark, and Krings came in and really held them at bay, right? She utilized a lot of different pitches, kept the ball down in the zone, and utilized some of that spin. And so I think that if she can pick up on that momentum of where she left off pitching against one of the best offenses in this league, she'll put herself in a good spot tonight.
Yeah, she came on in relief for Mariah Lopez, who pitched on Tuesday night, went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits, a walk, and a strikeout. As TJ Webster, one of our players to watch, digs in. We're ready to go here at Bill Edwards Stadium, and the first pitch is outside, 1-0.
TJ Webster was somebody that just really stood out to me yesterday because her speed is so lethal. You see how tight this Rise infield is pulled in right now because she beat them even when they were at normal slapper distance.
Yeah, you saw the numbers in the open. 216 career hits at Western Kentucky. She led Conference USA in the batting average department this past year by hitting .405 to name the CUSA Defensive Player of the Year. And the count 2-1.
That's how you beat her, though, right? Krings puts that ball on the inside part of the plate with a little bit of curve spin, breaking at the last second. That's really difficult for a slapper to hit.
2-1, flicked foul, 2-2.
Where Webster made her mistakes yesterday was hitting the ball in the air, right? She had 2 flyouts, and I think that's one way that you're putting yourself in a bad position as a left-handed slapper. She knows that her strength is hitting the ball on the ground. I want to see her make that adjustment in this at-bat.
Yeah, you're right. Went 1 for 3 with a couple of flyouts to Alex Honnold in center field. I always think back to the movie Major League with Willie Mays Hayes and the manager getting on him to hit the ball on the ground. Do what you do best, and specifically for a speedster like Webster. Comes a payoff pitch, and that's low and outside, and the leadoff hitter is aboard.
And if you're not going to hit the ball on the ground, you have a good at-bat as the leadoff hitter, right? She works the count to 3-2, and I think just having that good eye, letting that screwball on the outside part of the plate just continue to move away from her, she gets the team's first base runner.
So Webster on at first and Tao in the 2-hole. And Krings misses outside again, 1-0.
Kaylee Tao is someone that is just so prepared at all points, right? We talked to Amy Davidson yesterday, and she spoke of her leadership and her ability to just be a veteran presence. Even though this is her first time playing professional softball, she's one of those people that some of the younger players, the first-year players, look up to because of the way that she carries herself.
Yeah, a couple of years off, came from Alabama, 3-time NFCA All-American, and 2-time All-SEC. Last night hit the ball hard, right off the shoe top of Shanice Dels, but still grounded out, and a good play by Sammy Williams. That was Webster off on the pitch, but yesterday 0 for 3, Tao, like we mentioned, hit that ball hard and then struck out and reached on a pass ball. 2-1 coming. And a snap throw down to first, and they get Webster in a rundown. Treeweiler's up with it, pump fakes, misses the tag, and no out is called as Webster dives, and Treeweiler tags her for out number 1. So a simple 2-3 caught stealing. And that's a big out for the Rise in the first inning.
When you teach young girls how to properly do a rundown or a pickle, whatever you would like to call it, the biggest thing is to limit the amount of throws in the rundown. And Treeweiler does a really good job. She has a couple pump fakes in there to get Webster trying to go from first to second.
Here's a 2-2 pitch, and that's low. 3-2.
Here's the thing, though, with Webster. If she knew that she was going to try to delay steal, I would have liked to see her get a little bit bigger of a lead. She does have the speed to be able to delay steal, but she didn't get off of first base far enough for it to be effective.
Big strikeout there as she gets Tao swinging. And so Webster and Tao are retired, and let's meet the defensive alignment for New York. So it's Kayla Weidel along with Alex Honnold and Sydney McCray in the outfield. Treeweiler, Blampede, Jenna Laird, Sammy Williams, and McKenna Smith. As Sarah Mosley lofts it foul down the right field line and gets out of play 0-1. Mosley hitting 3 at-bats last night. Had a good at-bat in the first inning. Went 9 pitches before popping out.
But those are those little things that you can take away from last night, right? A 9-pitch at-bat. Okay, it might not have been the hit that you wanted, but still you're seeing a lot of pitches.
Hit on the ground to third. On the backhand, Sammy Williams. First opportunity and zips it over to first, and the inning is over. As Krings gets the caught stealing, a strikeout and a ground out. And New York coming to bat on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Doc Gooden, and you're watching Varsity Media.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media. When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Ashley Treeweiler will lead things off for New York in a scoreless game, bottom of the first inning. Treeweiler in the best stretch, I'd have to imagine, of her career, definitely professionally. And, you know, she tore it up at Grand Canyon. 3 for 4 last night with a double, 2 RBIs, and had the game-winning RBI as she takes the first pitch strike from Brooke Yanez. Count 0-1. And 16 games so far for New York, and she's reached base in every one of them. Out in front, count 1-1. And the 1-1 pitch. Hit under the glove of Kaylee Tao into right field. A base hit. Treeweiler takes a long turn and quickly zipped back into the infield by Hannah Busby. And a leadoff single for Treeweiler.
Brooke Yanez got Treeweiler to chase a little bit of an off-speed pitch, but Treeweiler gets her timing down relatively quickly on that pitch on the inside part of the plate, just turns on it, again, hitting it hard on the ground, something that we've been talking about, creates a lot of effectiveness for hitters.
So up steps Jenna Laird, hitting .308 on the season. East Meadow product. And takes on the outside corner, 0-1.
That 1-2 punch with Trewiler and Laird right behind her. We've seen them go back-to-back in a lot of instances the last couple of days, but 1-2 pop, especially from the left side.
Laird was a thorn in the side of the Steam yesterday. She reached on an error in the first inning and then was hit by a pitch in her last 2 plate appearances and came around to score twice. And I know that there's a statistic out there, obviously, leadoff walks or no-out walks always come around to bite you. Well, the hit by pitches as well for Jenna Laird, who did a good job crowding the plate and just stepping into him. She pokes it on the ground to second. Kuma's up with it, flips it to Webster, and that's all they get as Trewiler is wiped off the base paths, and Laird is aboard.
Even though that was an out, Laird hit that ball really hard, but Kuma does a really good job of keeping her body in front. Now, she was a little unsure if she was going to flip it with her glove or her hand, and that's why it got caught up in her glove, but at least she gets one out for the Steam.
Well, Alex Honnold in the 3-hole. Attacks the first pitch and rolls it foul. 0-1.
You see all of these first 3 left-handed hitters trying to pull that outside curveball from Brooke Yanez. I think what they need to do is let it get a little bit deeper in the zone and go the other way with it. They're still hitting it pretty hard on the ground, but they're all ground balls to the right side. With that outside pitch, you want to go with it.
One, and Yanez tries to go outside again, but Honnold lays off.
And you know, if I'm Brooke Yanez, I'm going to keep throwing it out there until they prove that they can hit it really hard. I know that Trewiler led off with that single, but overall, 2 groundouts that could have been had for the Steam.
It's really easy to say in a Mercy game that the pitching was the issue as Honnold storms it foul down the right field line. And to say, oh, well, the pitching wasn't there, it was just a calamity of errors, but it actually was that. It was just the errors for the starting staff who came on. They induced ground balls. 4 errors in 1 inning. You're not going to win many ball games that way.
No, exactly, and it's what you just said. It's the pitchers doing a good job of placing the ball on the corners and then getting the New York hitters to hit the ball on the ground, but just not being able to come up with those plays makes it really difficult to win ball games.
1-2 pitch, runner goes, hit in the air, left center field. Morgan Smith tracks it down. We're out number 2 as Laird goes back to first. Defensively for Chattanooga, similar defense that we saw yesterday, as well as Aaliyah Logaleo is out in left field. You just saw Morgan Smith, Hannah Busby in right field, Kaylee Tao at first, Sydney Kuma at second, Webster at short, with Mosley in the hot corner. Leah Boggs gets the start behind the plate with Yanez in the circle. Here's a player of the game last night, McKenna Smith. 3 hits, 6 RBIs, and a home run to boot. And the first pitch high, 1-0.
I love that when we talked to McKenna Smith post-game, we were like, you were 3 for 3. You were incredible. And she's like, it was all because of my teammates, right? They got on. I was able to hit them in. And I think that just speaks a lot to the culture of this Rise team, how together they are, how much they support each other, and everything is about the team.
Cranks this one to left field. McKenna Smith has done it again. Into the next county. McKenna Smith hits her 6th home run of the year, a 2-run shot, and New York goes up 2-0.
McKenna Smith is getting used to holding that torch of Lady Liberty. This ball hangs on the upper part of the plate, and you can just see McKenna Smith's eyes light up. She even loads a little bit extra and absolutely cranks this ball out of the park. We'll see it again right here. Just waits perfectly on it. Oh my goodness, McKenna Smith. Talk about seeing the ball like a beach ball. She's another one on this Rise team.
There's no rain in the forecast, but when Smith's at the plate, certainly some thunder and lightning as Sammy Williams steps up to the plate. Williams homered last night as well in the victory. When you look at this lineup top to bottom, I think you can make the case that Sammy Williams is probably the unsung hero, or at least the rock. She's been very consistent defensively, offensively, and while her numbers might not pop off the stat sheet, she's been an integral part to the Rise's success so far.
Well, I think when you have people hitting like Treeweiler and Smith are right now, it's kind of hard to see some of the other hitters and players in this lineup. But Sammy Williams has really been able to do it all. She's played some second base, some shortstop. She's at third, like just everywhere, right? So I think that she has just done everything for the Rise, and again, doing it with the bat as well.
1-1 on the outer edge. 1-2.
And I think the cool thing that I love to see about Sammy Williams is just the way that she carries herself, right? She is just so even keel, locked in, always just trying to make sure everything is exactly how it's supposed to be, both offensively and defensively.
1-2 pitch. And a big daddy hack back to the screen.
I really like that I convinced you to use the word daddy hack in our broadcast.
Anytime I could use daddy. Works for me. Williams hitting .294 on the year, the home run last night, 12 RBIs. It's now 4 extra base hits in her season as good take outside, 2-2.
And we were able to catch up with her before the game, and one thing that she told us is when she was preparing for this season, she was just trying to make sure she was ready for anything, right? So just doing different things when she was at the plate and batting, but defensively especially, just taking reps at second, short, and third.
And the other thing, too, and that really sticks out is that she's been consistent at the plate even though she's consistently played other positions. So maybe that changes prep time. You could speak more to this as the former player, but I'd have to imagine there's a different mental approach going into a game based on position that you're starting at. 2-2. Hit on the ground to short under the glove of TJ Webster, and Sammy Williams is aboard.
We'll definitely get back to talking about that mental approach because you're right, there is a difference no matter where you are starting it in the way that you're going to approach that defensive area. But speaking of defense, that's something that this team just really needs to focus on right here. Again, you see Chattanooga's pitchers getting those ground balls, but defense behind them not able to come up with those outs.
Yeah, so they'll rule that an error. That's the 6th error in now 6 innings played for Chattanooga. As Kayla Wadle steps up to the plate, the left fielder getting the start today. And Wadle takes high 1-0.
So we talked about Sammy Williams playing some of those middle infield positions, and now she's on the corner. Even though defensively as an infielder, the mechanics are very similar, right? You're at different distances away from home plate.
Wadle lays off.
So your start position, the middles, you're a little bit higher, right? When you're on the corners, you're a little bit lower to the ground. You need to be able to drop, step, and move in a greater range when you're at those middles positions, and you have that turning of 2, right? At third base, you're focused on those bunts. And so there's just all these little different things to prepare for, footwork-wise, and all of that. And I think that the way that Sammy Williams approaches it and the way that she can come back to it at different points in the game and just be switched around throughout the game just shows her athleticism. And again, going back to that preparation that she worked on when she was getting ready to play for the Rise.
Comes the 2-1. Popped up behind the plate. Let's see if it stays in for Boggs. And Boggs hauls it in. And the inning is over. But McKenna Smith's 2-run home run gives New York a 2-0 lead going to the second on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
In the bottom of the first, the Rise.
When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck. Lauren Kring's back out for the top of the second inning now with a 2-run cushion. And I'd have to imagine for New York, Now, they are the home teams, and they do concede runs usually first. But going into the second inning, it's got to be a little bit of a relief after you get an offensive explosion like McKenna Smith.
That's one thing we've seen with the Rise all week, right? Giving up runs in the first inning, and then they have to play from behind. This is one of the first times that they're actually playing from ahead, and so I think that just really helps your pitcher because you can throw a little bit looser now coming into the top half of the second.
It was a 1-2-3 inning for Lauren Krings, although she surrendered a leadoff walk but got T.J. Webster caught stealing on a good snap throw by McKenna Smith. So it'll be Sydney Kuma, Morgan Smith, and Aaliyah Logaleo. Floated out to the right side, and a nice play, Riley Blampede. Not exactly highway robbery like last night, but that glove comes to play each and every night.
Well, there's a lot of wind here tonight, and Riley Blampede gets a really good jump on that ball, and her speed comes into play again. We saw it yesterday with the home run that she robbed. But on this one right here, the ball hangs a little bit longer, but still not enough. Watch the way that she drop steps and then moves laterally, sticks her glove out at the last second, and keeps her momentum going to make sure she holds on to that ball.
First pitch misses to Morgan Smith, who was the victim of the home run robbery last night.
Yeah, Morgan Smith got a great piece of that, and it's just one of those things that you have to give kudos to the defense, right? You took a good pitch deep to left field, but just not able to produce the run.
And I'm sure for Smith, she was probably thinking, well, what more do I have to do? Unfortunately, you have to hit the ball 400 feet. Slashes a foul down the right field line.
And honestly, if anybody could hit the ball 400 feet or close to it, it would be Morgan Smith. I've seen her play in so many games. The amount of power that she has to both sides of the field is absolutely incredible. I don't know about 400 feet, but she can hit it pretty far.
Well, and Amy Davidson yesterday, when we asked her first impressions of Morgan Smith, she said, I never realized how strong she was, and just seeing it in person. Because that's the one thing, too, with a lot of these coaches. Now, they do play north of 50 to 60 games a year, but there's still a lot of softball that you're not seeing in person or you're just watching on game film. And for Rutgers particularly, Morgan Smith was somebody that you would watch, not necessarily got to know too much in her Scarlet Knights years.
And I think that's something that Morgan Smith's college coach, Kristen Butler, talked about all the time as well. She's like, every day she comes to practice and she surprises me once again.
Off the end of the bat, out in left field. Wadle's there, 2 away.
Left fielder, number 16, Aaliyah Logaleo.
So 2 up, 2 down, and here's Aaliyah Logaleo.
You know what I love to see right there? Morgan Smith pops out, right? But she's talking to Logaleo before Logaleo steps into the box, just trying to tell her, okay, here's what I saw, here's what I've learned. And I think that that's how you create a good culture on your team, and that's how you ultimately create success. This team is trying to learn how to win softball games. They're so close in so many instances, but if you can communicate and do the little things right, you're eventually going to start putting the runs across and picking up those victories. So I think Morgan Smith just trying to be a little bit more of a leader right there, just communicating with her teammates what they'll see when they get to the plate.
And Logaleo, after 2 quick outs, taking the first 2 pitches. Wave and a miss. Good hack and a rise, 2-1.
And, you know, Krings is working that curve and a little bit of almost a rise ball on that outside part of the plate. And I like that she's consistently still going there. She missed, but didn't shy away from it. She went right back with it.
Wave and a miss again. Deuce is wild.
She has a little bit extra pop on her pitches as well. I think that's something that you'll see not as much from somebody like a Jalen Ford or a Shanice Delce. They throw hard, but Krings just brings a little bit extra oomph with some of that spin. And I think that's why we've seen her be pretty effective here tonight and in those last couple innings against Spark as well.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, a 2-0 lead for New York. Top half of the second. The pitch on the inside corner, got her looking. Second strikeout, freezes Logaleo. And Lauren Krings is through 2 on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Doc Gooden, and you're watching the New York Rise.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
There's double play, and Ali Melendez cheering on the crowd, and I know there was a lot of mascot talk last night as well, and we did not see Ellie the Elephant, unfortunately, here today, but we did see double play at a lot of New York Liberty games as well, so I'm sure there will be a return trip down the road.
I know. Well, you know, Ellie had work. She's at the WNBA All-Star Weekend, and she was popping off all over social, so we'll give her the pass for not being here today, but would love to see Ellie at a New York Rise game, and I'd love to see the tag team of Double Play and Ellie. I think that they could do some really good, like, choreographed dancing. They got the moves.
Here's Riley Blampede. Showed off her defensive moves in the last half of the inning, and a long run to track down a pop-up on the right side of the infield, and she takes low for ball one.
Speaking of her takes, that's something that McKenna Smith talked about last night in our post-game, just the fact that she has these active takes. And so what that means is when she looks at a pitch, her lower half and her timing is just so on. And that really helps them when you take your full swing because you know where you want your bat head to be at the right time. And that just helps so much with timing and eventually making contact.
Blampede from South Carolina has picked it up as of late, offensively and defensively, and you could see that one thing about Blampede, day in and day out, her confidence never wavered, and it never really got to her, and that's all part of being a pro, too, because it's not always going to be your day.
No, absolutely not, especially when you're playing other pros, right? So when you go from high school to college, everybody gets a little bit better, and then you have the best players from college to the pros, so there's just very little room for mistakes, and so you have to keep your confidence level up and not get down on yourself when you get out.
Skied in the air to left. Low Galeo. One away.
The designated player, number 22, Linny Malkin.
You know, Smith crushed that home run, but besides that, Giannis has done a really good job of just getting some weak pop-outs and some weak ground balls as well. She's still spinning her pitches, using a little bit of a changeup sometimes too. So I think that, again, the pitchers are doing what they're supposed to do for this team. The defense might just need to back them up a little bit.
Here's Linny Malkin back in the lineup for the first time since Thursday, and she pokes a single into left field. Not wasting any time is Malkin. Her first hit of the evening. And that'll bring up Sydney McCray.
I really liked Sydney McCray's at-bats yesterday. She just showed that she can do a little bit of everything, right? She can slap, she can bunt, and she was effective with all of them. And, you know, we talked about TJ Webster for this team, utilizing her speed. McCray doing much of the same for the Rise.
McCray an infield single and a ground out, and was also called out of the box last night on what was a beautiful bunt single.
So I actually got clarification on that.
Okay.
She stepped on home plate, which is why they called her out.
Makes sense. 1-0. And that misses low and away.
I think another thing that impresses me a lot about Sydney McCray is her ability to read the defense and the situation, right? We saw yesterday she had runners on first and second, so she went with that drag bunt instead of trying to slap. Here we're seeing again, she stood in there to swing away with that runner on first.
2-0, wave and a miss.
I'd even like to see her try to bunt here, not sacrifice, right? But run through and drag bunt for a single because you have a runner on first base. The infield's shaded in, but they have to be prepared for a slap too. So that freezes them up when they're trying to decide if they're going to cover first or not. I think this is a good situation for her to try to drag bunt.
Well, there it is, and she bunts it first base side. It just goes foul.
Now she has 2 strikes, so she has to go back to either swinging away or slapping. But I just really like that move there, right? She takes one good hack, right? See if you can get something through the hole. If not, utilize that because it's going to keep the defense off balance as well.
McCray, the only active college player on the roster, and talk about a good summer. And keeping yourself sharp, 2-2. Swing and a miss, got her to chase. First strikeout issued by Yanez. And there's 2 away.
How about the movement on this pitch going from left to right from Yanez? It's a curveball with a little bit of speed off of it and just getting Sydney McCray to chase on that outer part of the plate.
So back to the top of the order. Ashley Trewiler was single to right her first time up. Takes a fastball off the plate.
If I'm Yanez, I'm going to continue to work the lefties away. We've seen even when they have gotten hits, they haven't been, again, squared up. Trewiler hit that single, but it was pulled barely fair. So I would keep putting it there until they prove to me that they can hit that well.
Trewiler skies it, foul, just ahead of it.
And when she does come into lefty, she puts it far enough in that that's all that they can do with it, right? Foul it off. If they try to hit it into fair territory, it's just going to be a jam to first or second.
Malkin's aboard first with a 1-out single. 2-0 Rise lead. The pitch. Just below the knees. Trewiler, like she told you earlier, and does a good job tracking pitches. Will always find a pitcher to read and get those rotation and just mental at-bats. As Yogi say, 80% of the game is mental. The other 50% is physical. So
it was something like that with the numbers that were messed up, and I just can identify with that so hard because numbers hurt my head. I like stats. I can look at those. But what his message was totally true. The game is so mental.
Yep. Good hitters count for Trewiler. He's home with a 3-1. Fouled off.
And, you know, Trewiler also just gave Jalen Ford a lot of credit, too. She said that was one person that's always there, like letting her take stand-ins, having her come early, coming early with her, staying late, all of those different things. And it goes back to that team mentality, right? Pitchers trying to make hitters better, hitters helping out pitchers. And I just love that. And I think that's why you see success from teams is when you have people who are so willing to push each other to be their very best.
And I think it helps having a player like Trewiler who's really hitting the ball well to tell Ford, hey, this is what I'm seeing with you at the plate. Opportunity for Webster goes the short way to retire Malkin, and the inning is over. 2-0 going to the third on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
Hey parents, how about a bobblehead for your athlete? Bobbleheads are one of the most preferred personalized gift items today, and it's so easy to order. All you need is a photo of your athlete, a model number from our extensive collection of bobbleheads, and the sculpting process begins. 2 proofs are sent for your approval, and once it's approved, in a few weeks, your bobblehead is on the way. It's that simple. Order your bobblehead today by logging into varsitymediapass.com and click catalogs or call 516-403-2050. Top of the third inning, Lauren Krings has faced the minimum And a 2-0 lead for the New York Rise as it'll be 7-8-9. Hannah Busby, Allie Cummings, and Leah Boggs due up against Krings. And Krings a couple of strikeouts, moving inside-outside, and her Rise has been aces so far.
Lots of tight spin on that pitch, getting these hitters to chase. But I think overall this team's been having some good at-bats with some good contact. And that was one thing that Amy Davidson told us before the game, was that she wanted them to be more aggressive, right? She said that's one thing that will help us be better on the field, both offensively and defensively, is being aggressive in the counts. And you see right there a first pitch swing. I mean, it was a ball, but again, aggressiveness.
Allie Busby will win 1 for 2 last night. Behind in the count, 0-2.
And Krings has done a really good job of getting ahead on hitters, right? Already 0-2 to the first batter of this inning. Gets a chase and then paints the inside corner.
Wave and a miss. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Back-to-back Ks for Lauren Krings, one away to begin the third.
Well, there's spin on the rise, but she takes a little bit something off this pitch, and you see the tail down of a drop spin on it to get that first K.
So Allie Cummings from Miami of Ohio, top 10 all-time in home runs in program history with 66.
Krings again, though, getting started ahead in the count.
I want to know what's in the water in Miami of Ohio, especially with all those home runs.
It's their approach at the plate. It's the hitting mechanics. It's that utilizing the lower half, getting behind the ball, keeping the bat in the zone long, and just the aggressiveness in the way that you're going to swing the bat.
Wave and a miss.
They were so fun to watch this year. Everybody was on home run watch because they were looking to break some records. They did break a couple, but yeah, it's just been really cool to see the way that they can smoke it.
It's not going to leave the ballpark, but still a drive, and Alex Honnold is there. 2 gone in the third.
I mean, you'll see a lot of that with that home run swing, right? Pop-outs, fly-outs. Still a good piece, though, by Cummins, and I think that's, again, what Amy Davidson wants to see. Even if you're not going to get a hit, can you have a quality at-bat or make good contact?
So this brings up Leah Boggs, who was signed by the team earlier this week. Boggs from the University of Virginia. Grew up in Mansfield, Ohio, and was a junior in 2023. Played in 46 games at .241 with 17 runs driven in. It was really her sophomore year where she stood out. All-region first-team selection in 2022. Hit .289. And you just think about what's on the plate for catchers as well. And if you're getting that kind of production out of your backstop, you'll do some pretty good things.
Absolutely, and I think the biggest thing when you're signing catchers, and you see a lot of the teams in this league having to sign catchers for a few weeks or a few days at a time, you need somebody to kind of hold that position down. This is a shortened season where there's a lot of games in a small amount of time. There's a lot of travel, the bodies get beat up, and so if you have the ability to catch and you can bring in people like Boggs to help your team out, that's awesome. And then the offensive production is just a bonus in that case.
So interesting, McKenna Smith goes out there in a count of 1-2. And as Krings has been rolling, but good to have the two of them on the same page. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And it's popped up shallow right. Going out as Blampede makes the catch. And the inning is over. 9 up, 9 down for Lauren Krings. Going to the bottom of the third on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream events. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck. Home half of the third inning, Brooke Yanez will deal the 2-3-4 in the New York Rise lineup. Outside of the two-run home run, she's induced contact, and her defense playing much better the first two innings tonight than they did last night. And if they're going to take a couple of games this series, they're going to need their defense because Yanez continues to pound the zone.
Yeah, she's throwing that curveball on the outside corner to lefties and getting them to chase that, and then using that rise ball on the inner half of the plate to the left-handed hitters as well with some tight spin. The thing about that rise ball is it jumps and breaks so late. She also has the ability to throw in an off-speed once in a while, which she hasn't used a ton tonight, but when she has, it keeps hitters off of balance.
Leading off the bottom of the third for the Rise, the shortstop, number 3, Jenna Laird.
Yanez from UC Davis. Dealing to Jenna Laird. Reached on a fielder's choice in her first at-bat.
Yeah, Yanez had a couple of stops in her college career from UC Davis, and she played some at Oregon, ended her career at UCLA, so she has so much experience pitching against Pac-12 players, just really kind of going up and down that West Coast.
Yeah, two-time All-Pac-12 selection, second-team honor in 2023.
Talked about that off-speed. There it is on that first pitch to Laird.
And the pitch just off the plate, 1-1. Talk about, obviously, the Northeast and about how the old adage was, well, and this is when I was talking to Adrian Clark, of if you're not from Texas or Florida, then are you a softball player? Jenna Laird certainly has broken that mold, you yourself, and a bunch of other Northeasterners. And for Laird, it's got to be something else to obviously play professional ball here on Long Island, but just the experiences that she gets and traveling in from Mizzou, the SEC, things like that, as she rolls it on the ground to second and Georgia Bulldog throws her out.
It's just so awesome to see. You see Jenna Laird, the prime example, right? Like you're saying, coming back to your hometown to play professional softball. And you're right, that was the conversation around softball players from the Northeast, or basically anybody not from California, I would say. And so I think it's so cool that not only have players shown that they can play from the Northeast and they can go on to these big Power 5 schools and have success. Now we're showing young girls here on Long Island and in New York that, look, softball is really cool and you can play professionally right here in your backyard if you work really hard and you find the right avenues to take. And so I think that that's another reason why the New York Rise and this entire league are so important.
And Jenna Laird also bringing over Alex Honnold, who had a fabulous career over with the Tigers at Mizzou. Rolls it foul, 1-1. Honnold playing in 229 career games at Mizzou, hit .331 and broke the single-season doubles record with 21 doubles a couple years ago. All-SEC second-teamer in 2023. Hitting .429 on the year, a home run, and 5 RBIs. Pitch a little low.
And Alex Honnold's another one. We talked so much about Treeweiler and Smith that you sometimes forget that she's the one consistently hitting in the 3-hole, right? She has so much pop on her bat and is just very consistent. And I think that gets lost a little bit in translation because the other two are just hitting so well, especially in the last few games.
It also helped that she rarely strikes out. And so when you get traffic on the base paths and Honnold at the plate, it's going to be tough for a double play, and, of course, with the speed. And you could see that was the formation of how this team was created. A lot of speed, defense, and especially when you get Crash McRae, and that's his credo. You can win some ball games like that. Popped up left side. Speed's not going to help there. Sarah Mosley makes the catch in foul territory. 2 up, 2 down in the third.
You know, I played for my dad a lot growing up, and that was one of his biggest pet peeves when somebody fast hit the ball in the air. He would be like, what are you doing? Hit the ball on the ground. But, hey, it happens sometimes, and Alex Honnold has been so fantastic at the plate and in the outfield as well. There's some catches that she makes that look routine to the normal person, but the fact that she gets to them is incredible, and looks like we're having an intentional walk to an incredible hitter right now.
And in softball, of course, you have to throw the 4 pitches. So the count 2-0 to McKenna Smith. Interesting decision that it is an intentional walk with nobody on in the third inning. But we'll see if that continues to play a factor throughout the rest of the game and in this series.
I mean, I don't totally hate this move right here. I know that there's 2 outs and nobody on, but McKenna Smith is absolutely crushing this team, right? You saw that ball that she hit the last time she was at the plate. Yesterday she was 3 for 3 with 6 RBIs. That's a lot of runs knocked in. She's an RBI all in herself because she can put the ball over the fence. And I mean, Sammy Williams is a fantastic hitter in her own right, but McKenna Smith against this team, nobody has a hotter bat than her.
Williams reached on an error in the first inning and homered last night as well. And a big rip on the first pitch, 0-1.
And that's why it's good to have Williams behind Smith, right? Because she can protect her. But in this instance, look, it's a 2-0 ball game. And as this team is trying to put runs across the board, makes it a lot easier if it's 2-0 as opposed to 3-0. I never want the best player to beat me.
Just misses, 1-1. No, I understand the strategy, especially with the way that Lauren Krings has gone first time through the order. You only scored 1 run last night. You haven't played in a week before last night. Curled down the right field line and splits foul.
It also allows you to do a little bit. It also allows you to do things a little bit differently defensively, right? So you have a runner on first, 2 outs. Sammy Williams has a lot of power gap to gap, right? With that runner on first, 2 outs, you can move the outfield back a bit farther because you don't want anything to get over your head. You'll take it in front, but when you move back, that allows you to get to some more balls that Sammy Williams has the capability of hitting.
1-2 coming. Waste pitch, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sammy Williams grew up in Park Ridge, Illinois, or at least was born there, and then moved to Southern California. The sister of Luke Williams for the Atlanta Braves, and this is line drive caught by T.J. Webster, and the inning is over. Put a star on that play. Nice play by Webster. More on Williams when we come back on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Doc Gooden, and you're watching the New York Rise.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
Top of the 4th inning, 2-0 New York Rise, and what a play by T.J. Webster. Last inning, as well to rob Sammy Williams of a base hit.
Amy Davidson wanted her defense to show up tonight, and TJ Webster said, I got you, coach. Get up there, TJ Webster. A great play by her to end the inning.
And so we were talking about Sammy Williams, and what's really cool is, yes, she grew up a Southern Californian, but was born in Illinois and now is an engineer in the Chicago Cubs organization, which is pretty cool. Obviously has ties with her brother with the Atlanta Braves, and talk about living the dream, Sammy Williams.
I think it was so cool. I was like, how did you get into that? And she said, well, you know, when I was a freshman, some of the upperclassmen said, why don't you try a coding class? And she said, all right, I'll try it. And she really liked it. So now she does code for the baseball side of operations for the Chicago Cubs. So working in professional baseball while also being a professional softball player. The bat ball sports are clearly a big thing in the Williams family for both her and her brother.
And TJ Webster, as apropos, when you make a great play to end the inning, you usually lead off, face outside. She reached on a walk, but then was thrown out on the snap throw by McKenna Smith. I thought the interesting part of our conversation with Williams was that she talked about playing all sports growing up. So she played some basketball, I think a little soccer. Her brother was a track and field star as well as baseball. And you just hear so much discussion now about just zoning in on one sport growing up. And I think that there's multiple ways to skin a cat, obviously, as it's lifted out to right field and Sydney McCrae makes the catch one away, but a little bit refreshing and a little old school to hear that both Williams' children grew up playing multiple sports year-round.
Yeah, and it's just really hard because everybody wants to play in college, right? And so everybody's telling you, look, you need to play the travel schedule. You need to be super focused on these individual sports, and that's not incorrect, right? You do need to not specialize, but you need to focus on the one that you want to play in college, maybe a little bit more, but that doesn't mean you can't play other sports in the process. I mean, we talked the other night about McKenna Smith. She played 2 sports in college, right? She spent some time at Cal, also on the women's soccer team, and so I think that it definitely can be done, and I think to be able to play as many sports as you can for as long as you can is so important for your development.
Tao goes around on the swing, 1-1. The other funny note was that her brother Luke was a ringer for the track and field team at times too when they were in the CIF championships. That's the California State championships as well, so pretty cool there.
Yeah,
Haley Tao, an athlete in her own right, behind the count 1-2. Sorry, I jumped on you.
No, you're fine. Williams even said, she was like, they would just call him in and say, all right, you're going to run in this race, help us out. And he got the job done.
Pitch upstairs to Tao, and the count is 2-2. Tao struck out swinging her first at-bat. Krings home with the 2-2 in the dirt. Good stop by Smith.
Speaking of good athletes, you have Sammy Williams, who was a 2-sport athlete, McKenna Smith, as we just mentioned, a goalkeeper in soccer. But how about their ability, too, to play different positions yesterday and today? Smith moving back to that catching spot tonight.
And that pitch just off the plate. And a 1-out base runner as Tao goes to first.
Third baseman, number 43.
Yeah, it looked like Smith really wanted that pitch on the outside corner, but it was a slightly beyond the edge. I think that's a good call to get a base runner for this team.
Sarah Mosley, first pitch hacking. Skies it foul. Mosley, the Georgia Bulldog, 2023 first team All SEC. And she was someone that we were talking about off air that you really liked her game and how she developed as well for the University of Georgia.
Yeah, absolutely just brings so much pop. Again, able to hit to both sides of the field and just like super aggressive. I think that's something that I think is a sign of good hitters. They try to hit early in the count, not chasing. I mean, she's behind 1-2, right? But that's because she's taking some of those good hacks.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. The pitch, that's lifted to left field. And that ball is gone. A game-tying 2-run home run for Sarah Mosley.
When you talk about Sarah Mosley and her career in college, the home run is just synonymous with that. And so she's continuing that here in the pros. We saw McKenna Smith's home run that was absolutely annihilated. This one's almost in the same spot. I would love to have a tape measure to see whose ball went farther because Sarah Mosley completely crushed this pitch from Lauren Krings.
Well, in the kind of get inside softball here, the intentional walk of McKenna Smith comes back to help the Steam, and that's poked up the middle. Sydney Kuma with a base hit.
And, you know, it goes back to that timely hitting, right? That's something that Amy Davidson wanted her team to do more of. So you finally get a runner on after Krings was kind of rolling through that first time through the order. And so then Mosley comes up to bat, absolutely crushes it, and now we have a tie game here in New York.
Here's Morgan Smith. Takes high and away, 1-0. Smith flew out to left in the second inning. Go ahead, run it first, and the pitch dips low, 2-0.
And, you know, the power in this lineup just continues. We saw Sarah Mosley's home run, but Morgan Smith has a lot of that power as well. We talked about the strength that Amy Davidson said she has, that her college coach Kristen Butler said she has.
So second time through the order, giving Krings some trouble. Two one. 3-1.
But how about the adjustments, right? That's what you want to see the second time through the order. If you are retired consecutively the first time through, you have to make an adjustment the next time that you come up to the plate, and these Steam hitters are doing just that.
Fouled off.
And, you know, you see Krings going to some deeper counts here, and I think the Steam came into this game wanting to be more aggressive. But aggressive doesn't mean swing at any pitch, right? It means swing at the ones that you can hit. And now that's what Chattanooga is doing, right? They're swinging at the pitches that they can hit, fighting off pitches that aren't theirs, like that one right there to Morgan Smith, and keeping those longer counts alive.
Well, Smith had to dance out of the way to foul it off.
She's chuckling at herself right there. She's like, I think that might have been ball 4.
Kuma the runner at first, a 2-2 ball game. Top of the fourth. That's cranked to deep left field. Wadle goes back, now circles over, jumps and can't make the catch. It's a 2-run home run for Morgan Smith. Against the wind, Smith puts the Steam in front 4-2.
The strength of Morgan Smith. We told you that she had power. She just needed to prove it to us with a home run of her own. And against the wind, as you said, John, watch this again right here. The pitch from Krings. Morgan Smith using everything that she has in that lower half to make sure that this ball gets out. Wadle does a really good job, but it's just out of reach. And now the Steam takes a 4-2 lead here in the fourth.
And New York will go to a new pitcher. Sarah Cornell comes on. And we'll talk more about Cornell when we come back on the Varsity Media Sports Network. You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the fall, but spots are limited. Contact us today for football, soccer, field hockey, and volleyball by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
Sarah Cornell comes on in relief. 4 runs come home in the inning for the Chattanooga Steam. So Sarah Cornell pitching in her first game this week. Now trying to keep this a 4-2 game, and there you see the numbers on her this year.
Sarah Cornell, another New York native getting to pitch for the New York Rats. It's a cool story of how she got here as well. She actually reached out to Jeff On and was like, hey, I would love to try out. She showed up here, and now she's on the team, but she's going to utilize that rise ball a lot. That's one of her go-to pitches. She had a lot of success with that in college. She needs to use that a lot and spin it and keep it in the zone.
Well, much like Laird, a decorated high school career as well, and used to pitch here at Hofstra before going over down south to Alabama. And for Cornell, Gatorade Player of the Year in New York in 2016. And that's lined to left center field. That's in the gap, and it'll two-hop the wall as Alea Logaleo stands into second with a leadoff double against Cornell.
This team have just really been picking better pitches to hit this second time through the order, just having the patience to see what they want to crush, and that's why they're getting more of these hits. Sarah Cornell now knows what they're looking for. Now she needs to keep them off balance. Can she work the corners a little bit more?
Hannah Busby shows bunt. Runner goes. Throw down to third. In time. Nice job by Jenna Laird, who covered the base, and they nab Logaleo.
So this was pre-planned by this team. We're going to possibly see it again right here. Busby squares late. What is going to happen is they're going to see if she can beat the shortstop to the bag. She can't. Laird's there to take the throw. Another out for the Rise.
Good job by Williams ducking for cover, and then Laird stays with it. Much needed second out. A 2-0 count to Busby, 3-0.
That's a great throw by Smith as well, just hitting Laird on the run. That is incredibly difficult, and I like that decision there from the team to try to make that work, because if the runner at second base can beat the shortstop, then you're in easy. That's why Busby squared so late as well, to try to keep the shortstop up the middle as long as she possibly could. That brings Williams in, so she's not there to cover the bag, and it is a complete timing play, but just didn't work out in this team's favor.
Second time that Chattanooga has tested the arm of Smith. Foul tipped into the glove of McKenna Smith. Then the count is full. Cornell trying to get us to the bottom of the fourth. Pitch on the ground to Williams. Stays with it and flings it across the diamond. And the inning is over. Couple of home runs. Sarah Mosley and Morgan Smith with 2-run shots and a 4-2 lead for Chattanooga going to the bottom of the third on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Doc Gooden, and you're watching Varsity Media.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media. When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Kayla Wadle leads off the home half of the fourth inning. First time this series first time since the first inning yesterday that the Rise are trailing. As the score is 4-2. 2-run home runs by Sarah Mosley and Morgan Smith. Mosley's was hit over to the next campus, and Smith just got over the outstretched arm of Kayla Wadle, who's behind in the count 0-1 and pulls back the bunt.
Wadle made a fantastic effort on that Morgan Smith home run. I thought she might have had a chance to come down with it, but it was a little bit out of her reach. And the Mosley home run, though, Kayla Wadle just turned around and faced home plate again because it was so far out. She knew she had zero chance.
1-1. Little high. 2-1. Wadle, Riley Blampede, and Lenny Malkin due up home half of the 4th inning. And stays a little low, 3-1.
That's what the Rise needs right now, though, base runners. So Wadle being very patient, seeing if she can get a pitch to hit. If not, with her speed on first, that's going to help the Rise here in the bottom of the 4th.
And a much-needed strike. A fist bump from Leah Boggs. Sometimes you forget how emotional those catchers are.
Oh, I love when catchers are fired up and they have the emotion. They're usually one of the chattiest players on the team, and it's much needed, right?
So we saw this last night, but Yanez taking the signs from the dugout. 3-2 popped up, right side of the diamond. Kuma battling the wind, makes the catch as Wadle collides with Kaylee Tao. No obstruction because Tao wasn't going after it. And Wadle's retired for the first out.
Yeah, I think that's just one of those funky plays where players kind of get caught up in each other's paths. And so glad everyone's okay, but another out here for this team. And how about Brooke Yanez? Her last 3 outs that have been recorded have been pop-outs, so really spinning that rise ball to get hitters to chase it and fly out.
So Riley Blampede, who flew out to left field the first time up, attacks the first pitch, skies it to the right field line. Hannah Busby in foul territory, can't track it down, and then takes a tough spill on the warning track. Hope that she's okay.
Yeah, it looks like she's getting up. It's tough because there's that grass and dirt slight lip over there in right field. It looks like, if you can see that dirt mark on the lower half of your screen, looks like maybe her foot got caught in that, causing her to tumble over a little bit.
Well, here's something I want to ask you as a hitter. So Yanez is looking into the dugout, waiting for the sign. Does that mess up with your timing at all as a hitter? Does it have any effect?
I think, yes, it could, but I feel like once you get to this level, you know that every pitcher has a little bit different of a routine. And so I think you're not really looking at that at all. You know when the pitcher is going to get set, and that's what you're watching for. And you're not really looking at the pitcher's eyes. You're looking at where she's releasing the ball from. So you might not know where she's getting the signal from.
This time an easier play. Tao is there. 2 up, 2 down in the 4th.
Yet another pop-up for Yanez, though. Again, spinning that ball really well. And so we talked about the Steam needing to make adjustments after their first time through the order. The Rise having success the first time through, but now coming to a little bit of a halt. And why is that happening? Because a lot of pop-ups chasing that Rise ball, chasing pitches on the outside part of the plate. And so how can you adjust now and swing at better pitches?
Lenny Malkin singled to left her first time up. In fact, on the first pitch that she saw from Yanez. A little bit more patient in at bat number 2 and ahead in the count 1-0. And that's at the knees, 1-1. Lenny Malkin, one of 3 players for the Rise to be participating in the Home Run Derby next week, along with Ryan Henry and Ashley Treeweiler. And that pitch just misses 2-1.
That's the one that the Rise needs to take, though, right? We've seen them chase it, and that's why they're either popping out or hitting a weak ground ball. Good discipline from Lenny Malkin right there to get the count to 2-1.
Two one. A little low, 3-1. It's a good plate discipline by Malkin. Trying to get aboard and extend it to Sydney McCray. 2-run lead for the Steam. Last half of the fourth. Count 3-2.
I like that hack from Lenny Malkin. A 3-1 pitch. You know that Yanez doesn't want to walk you, especially she's up 4-2, doesn't want base runners on. She takes a daddy hack at that one, just misses it.
Daddy chill. Still the best video on the internet, for my money.
That's the best video on the internet?
Yes. And what is even that? That's a base hit to left field. As Lenny Malkin makes a turn, she's 2 for 2.
That's almost in the exact same spot that she hit her first single. The other one a little bit more to left center-ish. This one down the line. But Lenny Malkin, a really good at bat. Last time she got a single on the first pitch. This time working the count to 3-2, fouling a pitch off, and then getting herself on base.
Sydney McCray, 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout swinging. And take strike one.
If Yanez is going to keep getting that call, I keep throwing that curveball there until it's called a ball.
Comes inside and just misses.
Good discipline there by Sydney McCray just to let that up and in pitch go. You don't want to hit anything in the air when you're a slapper, and that pitch would have been straight up into the sky.
1-1. Off the plate, 2-1. And a good eye by McCray.
And again, New York needs base runners. This team needed them before, now New York does. And so even with 2 outs, you want to make sure that you're disciplined and finding a way to get yourself to the next 60 feet.
And Brooke Yanez would love to face Ashley Treeweiler with nobody on in the beginning of the 5th inning. Poked foul over everyone. 2-2.
I'm interested to see if McCray sticks with the slap here and tries to poke it through, or if she's going to try to swing away. You see the infield is pulled in tightly. They could force Lenny Malkin at second if it's hit to that left side.
Swing and a miss. Got her swinging. Second strikeout for Yanez as they leave Malkin aboard. We go to the 5th. 4-2 Chattanooga on the Varsity Media Sports Network. You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the fall, but spots are limited. Contact us today for football, soccer, field hockey, and volleyball by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
Top 5, 4-2 the lead for Chattanooga. Well, we mentioned last inning that Lenny Malkin participating in the home run derby. Here's the complete list, and I'll put you on the spot here. Your favorites.
Oh my goodness, that is so hard. Okay, well, Sarah Mosley, we just saw how she can crush the ball. I definitely like her. From the Rise, Ashley Treeweiler has been hitting the cover off the ball. Those are my 2 that stand out right now, but I mean, every woman on this list has the potential to walk away victorious, and I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the thing with Treeweiler is, she's out in front on a couple of pitches. She could easily have double-digit home runs in just 18 games so far.
Oh, absolutely. We've seen her hit a couple foul home runs, and I just think she has so much pop, and it's crazy, too, because she'll also slap and drag bunt. So she's the complete triple threat, and you never know how to play her because you don't want to get too close. She might knock it through your teeth, but you also don't want to play too far back because she can lay one down, and I think it makes her so lethal at the plate.
So Sarah Cornell begins her first clean frame in the 5th inning, facing 8-9-1, due up for the Steam. Allie Cummings 0 for 1 on the day with a fly out. A swing and a miss to Cornell, and we're talking about her story and, of course, how she signed with the New York Rise and basically pitched herself, made the team during the day, and little drop slow pitch gets in there 1-2.
She pulls the pin on that changeup and locates it perfectly, and she has that great rise ball that has a little bit of zip on it and a lot of tight spin that can really set that pitch up just like it did right there.
Yeah, blew a fastball by her. Strike 3, first K for Cornell. And during the day, and at least during baseball season, she's part of the grounds crew at Citi Field for the New York Mets, and pretty cool to see. And the way the schedule worked out this year was that the Mets are on the road this week when the Rise are home, and she's been able to make it work, and just an incredible story.
Yeah, and sometimes she's there even when they don't have games. I know yesterday she was up at 4:45 a.m. to make sure that she got to Citi Field in time to put in a 6-hour shift, and then came to the ballpark and played in a softball game. And I think that just speaks volumes to the kind of person and hard worker that she is. She just is so dedicated to both careers that she's in right now, and it's definitely difficult, but balancing it really well.
Leah Boggs takes high and away, 2-1. Those 4:45 wake-up calls are no joke.
Not my favorite for sure.
There's that drop pitch, but Boggs stays with it and dunks it into right center field, a base hit. That's how you beat the changeup.
And it's a good pitch from Sarah Cornell, but it's just a little bit too high, right? When you hang that up there, it allows hitters to kind of reset and do exactly what just happened right there with Boggs.
5th hit of the day for the Steam as TJ Webster steps up to the plate, a walk and a fly out. And a fastball nicks the outer half.
Here's the thing, though. When she throws that changeup and then she throws either a fastball or a rise ball next, it just looks that much faster. She already throws with a good speed, but that really changes that eye level, that timing of the hitter.
Another thing to keep an eye on for, and unfortunately, with the camera situation here, there's nothing we could do about it because second base umpire is there. But McKenna Smith always coming up ready to throw. Be aware of the snap throw, and there almost happened. But 2-1.
Yeah, we saw her pick TJ Webster off the base earlier in this game, ready to throw runners out. She got another one going to third. Such a good job behind the dish.
2-1, 3-1.
Cornell just missing that pitch on the outside part of the plate. Bring it in a little bit, and she's got Webster 3-2.
There is the strike, and the count's full. Boggs, good speed on the base paths. So one thing we've seen throughout the league, the catchers can run. Hit on the ground to third. Let's see if they can turn 2. Williams to second for 1. Blampede the turn, not in time. It'll be a fielder's choice. I think Webster would have beat that out anyway, but they get Boggs out at second, and there's 2 away.
With Webster, you're not likely going to turn a double play, but Williams, having that quick release, gets that ball right over to Blampede at second to get the force.
Kaylee Tao walking a strikeout. She was on base for the moonshot off the bat of Sarah Mosley.
The cool thing about Kaylee Tao is, she also does a lot of broadcasting. She calls a lot of Alabama softball's games as a color analyst.
Runner goes, throw is off the line and pegs Webster, who stays with it, and she'll go to third. Heads up base running by TJ Webster to take the extra bag.
Amy Davidson wanted aggressiveness from her team, both offensively and defensively. But how about on the base paths, too? TJ Webster doesn't miss a beat. She feels herself get hit with that ball, immediately stands up, sees where it is, and then heads right to third. And now she's 60 feet away from another run for the Steam.
Off the plate, 2-1.
But as we were saying about Kaylee Tao, also a color commentator, just such a good job in her role there at Alabama, just really bringing her knowledge and expertise to the game.
Hit up the middle, Blampede knocks it down, but can't make the play as Webster comes in to score. It should be an RBI single for Kaylee Tao. A little bit of breathing room for the Steam. It's 5-2.
That's a tough play up the middle. I don't even know if Blampede fields that cleanly, if she can get Tao at first. I think it's a good job for her to knock it down, but again, Tao hit that so hard, and it was almost right behind that second base bag.
So here's Sarah Mosley, a 2-run home run against Lauren Krings her last time up. And takes low 1-0. Lauren Krings started the game, went the first 3 and a third, giving up 4 runs on 3 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. A lot of power in this meat of the order with Mosley, Kuma, and Morgan Smith.
So you never really get a breather, right? There's just big bat after big bat after big bat.
Lays off the drop pitch.
That's a better spot for that changeup. It's low and away, so even if Mosley hits it, she hopefully won't hit it over the fence.
3-0 taking all the way, 3-1.
I'd give her the green light here, though. 3-1, 2 outs. You have a runner on first base. You know she has the power. You know she's seen the ball well.
And takes outside, ball 4.
The one good thing about this is now you have a force at any base, right? So as an infielder, all you have to do is keep that ball in front, knock it down, step on your bag, Rise gets out of the inning.
Kuma singled to center last time up, 1 for 2. And drop pitch gets Kuma to briskly duck out of the way, and here comes Tony Marie Valorano try and calm down Cornell.
I think there's just a conversation here about what she feels comfortable throwing, right? Does she like throwing that changeup early in the counts? Would she rather utilize it later? Would she rather utilize it not at all? So I think this is a good time to just talk about, okay, what do you feel is working for you tonight? Let's start with those pitches and then go to some of those other waste pitches as we get later in the counts.
So Kuma digs back in a 1-0 count. 2 balls and no strikes.
And Sarah Cornell isn't missing by much. Those pitches are right on the corners. Smith doing a really good job of framing them as well. If she can just move them a tiny bit, she'll get those strike calls.
2-0, big cut by Kuma. 2-1.
And when she puts it over the plate, how about that velocity behind Sarah Cornell's pitches?
2-1. Chopped back to the mound, backhanded by Cornell, and rifles to first, and the inning is over. But the Steam add another run on an RBI single by Kaylee Tao. We go to the bottom of the 5th, 5-2 Steam on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
Hey parents, how about a bobblehead for your athlete? Bobbleheads are one of the most preferred personalized gift items today, and it's so easy to order. All you need is a photo of your athlete, a model number from our extensive collection of bobbleheads, and the sculpting process begins. 2 proofs are sent for your approval, and once it's approved, in a few weeks, your bobblehead is on the way. It's that simple. Order your bobblehead today by logging into varsitymediapass.com and click catalogs or call 516-403-2050. Welcome back to Bill Edwards Stadium, bottom of the 5th inning, and Morgan Smith, the new pitcher in the circle for the Chattanooga Steam. She was in the circle last night for the game-winning RBI single by Ashley Treeweiler, but now is a 3-run cushion.
I like this call by Amy Davidson. Treeweiler coming up for the 3rd time tonight. She already saw Yanez twice, so let's switch it up a little bit. The Steam only have 3 pitchers, and so it's a staff effort. And that's one thing that Amy Davidson talked to us before the game about, is just the fact that because there's only 3 of them, they're all battling a little bit of something, right? They get a little beat up with how many games that they have to throw, and so it's a little bit of a pitch by committee situation here. So 3rd time through the order, one of the best hitters for the Rise coming up. Switch to something different, and that's going to be Morgan Smith, who throws the ball quite hard, upper 60s, low 70s, and she just does a really good job of going right at hitters.
And it just shows how big of the out it was for Yanez last inning to get Sydney McRae swinging, because now you've got Treeweiler, who's up at the plate with nobody on base. Treeweiler, Jenna Laird, and Alex Honnold against Morgan Smith. And Smith trying to paint the outside corner, but misses 1-0. Smith, like you mentioned, started her career at LSU and fell in love with the game after she transferred over to Rutgers. And what a career as well. Number 23 overall player by Softball America's rankings and the number 1 two-way player. Skied in the air. That's Webster. And Treeweiler's retired for the first out.
Morgan Smith's velocity gets Treeweiler to pop up. She gets underneath that pitch. And speaking of adjustments, I want to see the Rise hit the ball hard and on the ground. That's where they had success in those first few innings. Not really putting the ball over the fence, right? Just hard ground balls, forcing the Steam to make some tough plays. And, you know, they've popped out a lot in the last 2 innings, which is the reason why they haven't been able to score runs.
Yeah, so far for the Rise, they've left 4 runners on base, and after the home run from McKenna Smith, have not had a base runner reach second base. Here's Jenna Laird. Reached on a fielder's choice and grounded out in 2 at-bats, 0 for 2. Take strike 1. No 1. Off-speed pitch, a little low, 1-1.
And when somebody like Morgan Smith throws so hard, that off-speed, again, sets it up. I'd like to see her locate it, but that's only the first one she's thrown tonight, so she has plenty of chances to bring it up a little bit.
One line drive caught Sarah Mosley, right place, right time, and 2 quick outs induced by Morgan Smith.
You know, I did say I want to see the Rise hit the ball on the ground, but Jenna Laird couldn't have hit that one much better. It was just right at the fielder.
Well, here's Alex Honnold, hit the ball in the air in both at-bats. Fly out and a pop out, 0 for 2. And misses upstairs, 1-0.
And I like the way that Morgan Smith is attacking hitters, right? You're coming in with a 3-run lead. Don't mess around. Just go at them. Make the Rise prove to you that they can hit you.
Just a little low and outside. Honnold doing everything she can to try and reach base with McKenna Smith on deck. Although we'll see if the steam pitched to her. 2-1 on a high strike.
That's a good take there from Honnold.
Two one coming. Lays off on appeal. No swing. 3-1. Morgan Smith getting a pop out and a line out. But behind in the count, 3-1 to Honnold. At the knees, and the count's full.
There's that off-speed pitch that she brought up a little bit. I love the confidence of Morgan Smith to throw that on a 3-1 count.
– 5-2 lead for Chattanooga. Home half of the fifth. Smith a strike away from getting out of it. Payoff pitch. Hit up the middle and through for a base hit. So Honnold wins the battle. Keeps the inning alive for McKenna Smith.
Great at bat by Honnold, just waiting for something that she can at least put into play, making Morgan Smith throw her something, and she rips it right back up the middle. And now it looks like there's going to be a discussion about how they want to throw against McKenna Smith.
I saw Amy Davidson look over to the bullpen, but I didn't see anybody warming up, at least at the moment. But if you were in Davidson's spot, what do you think the message is here? What would you do?
It's tough, right? I don't know if I'm intentionally walking her, but I'm definitely not giving her anything. I don't care if McKenna Smith walks again if I'm Amy Davidson. I don't know if it's going to be the direct intentional walk. We'll see, but I'd rather put her on base with a walk and test my chances with anybody else in the Rise lineup, despite how good of hitters they are as well, because McKenna Smith is just crushing the steam this week.
Well, and there is the intentional walk, and not even going to give Smith anything to hit.
And the other Smith putting her hands up on the mound saying, I know you're all mad, but we're not going to let the best player beat us, right? I like this move from Amy Davidson because not only does it not allow the best player to beat you, you're also kind of messing with the head of Williams and some of the other hitters behind McKenna Smith. Right now, don't get me wrong, Sammy Williams is a complete pro. I'm sure she's chomping at the bit to get up there and just crush the ball, but I think there's just all these mental components to the game as well that people don't always think about.
And there's ball four, and, to play devil's advocate, yes, it is still the fifth inning, so it's not like it is the seventh inning, but you're essentially bringing the tying run to the plate, who homered yesterday, and I know that we've been dealing in absolutes, whether it's a home run or not. But Sammy Williams hit the ball hard in two at-bats, an E6 and then a line drive that was caught by T.J. Webster, who had to go to the apex of her leap to rob Sammy Williams of a hit. First pitch to Williams. Right down the middle for a strike, 0-1.
No, and I totally understand that point as well because, as I said, Sammy Williams also hitting the ball so hard, and it's a tough decision if you're Amy Davidson. I think it just comes down to the way that you're going to approach the game. I think some coaches are very adamant on not allowing the best player to beat them, and I agree with that.
Pitch stays high, 1-1.
And that's the hard part of coaching professional softball, right? Because all of these hitters are fantastic. They're former All-Americans. They hold records at their schools and in Division I. And so making those decisions becomes that much more difficult as a head coach in this league.
1-1. High, 2-1.
I remember an instance in college. There was a hitter who was very similar. She hit against us very similarly to the way that McKenna Smith is hitting against the steam right now, and we actually walked her with the bases loaded to get to the next hitter.
What was the situation there? You guys up 4, up 3?
2, up 2.
Okay. 2-1, line foul. 2-2.
Up 2, bases loaded, 2 outs for the A-10 championship. And she walked her and then walked the run in, and then our left fielder made a fantastic catch to win it. It was really nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I'd say so. Coaching's never easy.
Absolutely not.
2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes, a 5-2 lead for Chattanooga in the 5th. And Williams hits it out to left field. Logoleo coming on, makes the catch. And Morgan Smith gets out of it. 5-2 going to the 6th on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck. Sarah Cornell back in the circle. 5-2 lead for Chattanooga. And certainly a lot of discussion, I think, amongst the two of us and some fans here, but whether or not to intentionally walk McKenna Smith, and it's just good banter regardless, and it's worked out for Chattanooga so far, especially because they've got a 5-2 lead and look to add some more, as it'll be their, not heart of the order, but 5, 6, 7-2 up with Smith, Logoleo, and Hannah Busby against Cornell.
You know, it's really tough being a coach, right? Because Sammy Williams just could have gotten a hit in that situation, and then Amy Davidson's maybe rethinking, oh, should I have walked McKenna Smith? But I think that it was a good decision, and when you're a head coach, you have to make some of those tough decisions, and, you know, you die on your sword a little bit, right? You know that there's a risk, but in some of the best situations, you play for that risk, right? You don't get into coaching because you don't like taking risks, because you're afraid to make hard decisions. That's 95% of the job. And so I love that Amy Davidson's just thinking outside the box and trying to do different things to help her team win. And especially with a team that is in their first year, they're trying to figure things out. They have a lot of young players. I love that. Take the chances, do things a little bit differently, because, you know, you've lost your last couple of games, right? Something has to change.
I also like the fortitude of Smith, too, to embrace the challenge, say, okay, we're not going to go after Smith. Now I have to get the next batter out, and she's done it both times.
Well, I think that's why Morgan Smith is so great of a softball player, because she's not really afraid of anything. She attacks everything head on, whether she's at the plate like she is right now, whether she's pitching, whether she's in the outfield, and that's what just makes her such a phenomenal athlete.
Just a reminder, fans, please do not chase down any foul balls that leave the stadium. Option security will take care of that. Safety issues, please do not track down the foul balls that leave the stadium.
Smith, a 2-run home run her last time up, 1 for 2 on the day, and carves it foul down the right field line into the bullpen. Count stays at 2-2.
I have to give credit to Sarah Cornell as well, though. Ever since she's come in, she's done a really great job of just locating that fastball, getting a little bit of more spin on that rise ball. She's used the off speed to set up those pitches as well, and has kept the timing of the steam off kilter.
Lofted foul again. Two coming. That's a line drive caught. Sammy Williams, nifty play for a loud out number 1.
The reason Sammy Williams makes this catch, though, is because of where she was positioned before that ball was even hit. She was almost in left field and off the third baseline. So Morgan Smith laces that ball. Williams takes 2 steps to her left and makes the catch.
Leah Logoleo takes the pitch just outside. Ogaleo doubled and then was caught stealing. Lifts it to center. Can of corn, Alex Honnold. 2 up, 2 down to begin the 6th. So that'll bring up Hannah Busby. Attacks the first pitch. Honnold going back at the warning track. Can't make the play. And Busby in at second. See how they ruled that. Honnold lined it up and looked in place to make the play.
That's a really difficult play, and Alex Honnold made the beginning of it look easy, right? She drop steps, gets a good read off the bat. She's perfectly placed where she needs to be, but lifts her glove up and just can't hold on to it. So she did all of the hard parts. Catching it and coming up with it is where she struggled.
So they're going to rule that an error as Allie Cummings up at the plate, 0 for 2. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And those are the hardest balls to field as an outfielder, those ones that are hit directly over your head. And as I said, Honnold doing a really good job of reading it, but it's that last step.
Jenna Laird uses 2 hands, and the inning is over. They work around the 2-out error. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th, the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Doc Gooden, and you're watching the New York Rise.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
Bottom of the 6th inning, Morgan Smith back out there. A 5-2 lead for Chattanooga. She's Maria Trivalpiece. I'm John Perez. 6-7-8 due up for the New York Rise as Morgan Smith worked around the 2-out single and then intentional walk to induce the flyout by Sammy Williams.
We touched on it a little bit, but how gutsy was it of Morgan Smith as well to have the confidence to intentionally walk and then go after the next hitter? I just think that is just awesome, right? So walks McKenna Smith, comes after Williams, and is just like, all right, let's do it. Let's get my team back in the dugout.
Leading off for the Rise in the bottom of the 6th, the left fielder number 6, Kayla Waddell.
Kayla Waddell digs in. Couple of pop-outs and 2 at-bats. First time facing Smith tonight. And Smith is coming in throwing darts.
And, you know, when she transferred from LSU to Rutgers, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, she struggled a little bit with her command because at LSU she didn't pitch a lot, right? So she had to get back into the swing of things of facing live batters, and then it took her a little bit. So I love to see her here in the Pro League, not messing around, going right at hitters, starting ahead in counts, and throwing strikes.
Ball and a strike to Waddell. So on the ground to short, Webster. And Tao stays on the bag. 1 out.
Those are the plays that this team didn't make yesterday that caused them to lose the game that they're now making today. Wade'll hit that ball hard on the ground, but Webster keeps her glove low, makes sure she gets all of it, and comes up with a good throw to first.
Home plate umpire and the first base umpire are coming together, and
not sure what that conversation was about.
The announcement is for no flashlights by any fans that are in the stands.
Interesting. I don't know who. They were doing the in-game flashlight event interaction. I don't know what the proper terminology is, but maybe someone left one on.
Yeah. And so Riley Blampede takes a strike, 0-1.
Morgan Smith is hitting the corners perfectly, right? That's in the spot where it's not over the plate that a hitter can crush it, but it's also not a ball.
Smith getting the sign. 0-1. 0-2.
That one was some late break, too, on the lower part of the zone.
Smith just looking like she's getting stronger as we get later into this game. No 2 pitch. Close miss, 1-2.
That's a great 0-2 pitch, though, right? She's already thrown those pitches on the outside part of the plate to get 0-2 in the first place. Moves just a little bit outside, so it looks enticing, trying to get a chase.
Rocks and fires with a 1-2, and that's high, 2-2.
That one gets away from Smith a little bit. She holds on to that ball a little bit too long. Rises too high for a 2-2 count.
Smith just looking for the put-away pitch. Two. Swing and a miss. Got her chasing. First strikeout issued by Smith. 2 up, 2 down. And that'll bring up Linny Malkin with the bases empty.
Smith really set that up well. She got ahead 0-2 on Blampede. Throws that pitch on the outside part of the plate. Then the rise ball misses to get the count to 2-2. And then she brings it back to that lower outside half to get the strikeout.
Malkin a pair of hits and 2 ABs. Takes on the first pitch and is ahead 1-0.
A good miss, though, from Smith. It's a little high, but not by much. She just needs to bring it down.
Linny Malkin played her college ball at Arkansas against the Rutgers Scarlet Knight. 1-1.
The quick in-game adjustments from Morgan Smith make me so excited, right? She misses a little high. She comes right back with that same pitch, but right where she wants it to get the strike call. She wastes no time in trying to debate or trying to figure out how to locate the strike zone. She just makes the adjustment.
Good changeup, but just misses.
She has a little extra spin on that pitch, and so it flutters high. I really like it, though, because she throws so hard, so that off speed really changes the vision of the hitter.
Two one coming. 2-2.
She misses, then comes right back with a strike. The same thing she did in the first 2 pitches of the at-bat, she does in the second 2 pitches of the at-bat.
See what she throws here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 5-2 lead, Chattanooga. Chattanooga, excuse me. The Scenic City.
I knew what you meant.
Well, I'm sure there's a whole contingent down in Tennessee saying he's not pronouncing it right.
We apologize. We know it's Chattanooga.
Full count. Off the front foot of Malkin and now ruled foul. And so she stays alive.
Mosley fielded that short hop, though, perfectly. I think she would have had a good chance to get Malkin at first, and that's a tough play, too, because it was chopping really late. She comes up and scoops it up. So even though doesn't have a chance to make the play, does everything mechanically right.
100%. Her and Morgan Smith both playing long ball as well. A couple of two-run home runs. And then it goes foul.
I think Mosley's is still traveling. I don't know if it's come down yet.
Well, it wasn't just that. It also got out in a hurry, too.
Right?
How often do you see a ball put into orbit and then just get out as quickly as it did?
Goodness. It was beautiful to watch.
3-2. Popped up. Let's see if it stays in play. Kaylee Tao, and it bangs off the top of the dugout.
Every time I see one of those pop-ups, the softball player in me has to resist yelling into this microphone saying, talk, talk, or commanding whose ball that is, especially as a former right fielder. I've seen way too many first and second basemen colliding and not talking on that, so I apologize if at some point I just start directing traffic. It'll be innate in me.
Oh, Malkin hits it down the left field line, but just hooks it foul.
A soul crusher for Malkin. We talked about Mosley's home run, but that one got out in a hurry, and it was higher, and it might have been farther, but unfortunately, it was fouler as well.
10th pitch of the at-bat upcoming. Swing and a miss. Struck her out. Back-to-back Ks for Morgan Smith, and we're through 6. 5-2 the lead. Chattanooga Steam with the lead on the Varsity Media Sports Network. You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the fall, but spots are limited. Contact us today for football, soccer, field hockey, and volleyball by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
Here's double play. Check out the backflip. Almost completed it. He's got all the moves. Now, you were saying the other night that you can do the worm.
I can do the worm.
What else?
That's about it.
That's it?
You want to know a fun fact? I did 11 years of ballet. So if you need me to do some pirouettes, I did point. So I have the shoes that are like made of wood that where I stand on my toes. If you need me to do anything involving that, I can do that.
Plie.
Plie, demi-plie,
Yep.
demi-plie and stretch. I talk about things that are innately in my head. That phrase never, ever leaves.
Does that translate over to the softball field?
I have this theory that if I would have continued to do ballet, I would have been a better softball player. But I stopped, back to our former conversation, I stopped doing ballet because I started playing travel softball. And so all of our summer tournaments were when the recitals and competitions were.
First pitch to Leah Boggs, who's 1 for 2 on the day. But
just,
so why do you say if you would have stayed with it, you would have been a better softball player?
Just because the core strength, the flexibility. I mean, you see a lot of professional athletes now doing Pilates. I think that it is just something that is so good for your body to be flexible and to have that strength because your core and all those different muscles are so important when you're playing a sport that you need to have quick reaction time, sprinting, lots of stationary movement.
On the ground left side and threw for a base hit, and Leah Boggs picks up her second hit of the day. Kind of curious, does that, for instance, if you are a good ballet, does gymnastics also help? Is it different? Maybe martial arts? I'm trying to think of other non-traditional team sports that
right. I think they all probably help too, because I think another thing that is really huge is like that mind-body connection, and all three of those things that you just mentioned help with that. And softball is such a mind-body connection sport.
So at the top of the order, Crash McCrae will go to the bullpen, and we'll get a new pitcher when we come back on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Doc Gooden, and you're watching Varsity Media.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media. When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 5.
Mariah Lopez comes on in relief to face TJ Webster, who bunts it right side, and it's a foul ball. Smith tries to get the out at second.
Even though it's a foul ball, that's a smart decision by Smith, because Webster placed that so perfectly. You weren't going to get her at first, so try to get that force at second, because even if you don't get the force, if that base runner around second, you can get her on the tag.
Lopez pitching in her first game since Tuesday night. She got the start. Lined on a one-hop to Jenna Laird. Steps on the bag, a double play. Put a star on that play. Jenna Laird flashing the leather for a nifty twin killing.
Earlier in this game, I said it would be very difficult to get TJ Webster on a double play, but Jenna Laird said, let me show you how to do it. This ball hit incredibly hard. She just steps on that bag with her left foot and uses the force of her body to fire a strike over to first base. Jenna Laird is so good at shortstop. So much fun to watch.
Kaylee Tao takes a strike. And you're right, there's been times where there have been plays that she hasn't made, but she still gets to. And, for instance, against Oklahoma City, she was playing second base and got to a ball up the middle. She was ultimately charged with an error, but because she got to the spot, it was ruled an error.
It was crazy because the ball was literally behind second base, and I would say she's one of 100 shortstops second baseman that even get to that ball. And like you're saying, she got charged for the error because she's so good.
Pitch just misses inside. Well, looking ahead for New York, next inning, it'll be 9-1-2 due up in the order. Sydney McCrae, Ashley Treeweiler, and Jenna Laird. Lopez trying to keep this a 5-2 game. And rolled wide to first.
That's a good spot to be if you're New York, because Sydney McCrae has been having some great at-bats. She has that speed, utilizing all three facets, swinging away, bunting, and slapping. So her leading off the inning is like a second leadoff hitter, and that brings up those big bats at the top of the order for the Rise.
You know, there is a possibility to have the bases loaded for McKenna Smith.
Dia Walker with the bases.
Depends on the score.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but it'll be a fun conversation for sure.
Lopez trying to paint the inner edge, but Tao not giving her the plate. Tao 1 for 2 on the day with an RBI single and a walk. She came around to score in the fourth inning. Her RBI single is the insurance that has the steam with a 3-run lead. As the count now 3-2. Payoff pitch. On the inside corner, got her looking. Lopez finally, who was nibbling on that inner edge, gets the strike called. As New York looks to rally going to the bottom of the 7th on the Varsity Media Sports Network. You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the fall, but spots are limited. Contact us today for football, soccer, field hockey, and volleyball by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
Morgan Smith looking for the final 3 outs and even up this series with New York. Well, we'll have one more game tomorrow, 1 p.m. right here at Bill Edwards Stadium. Be sure to join us with coverage beginning at 12:45 a.m. Chattanooga Steam and the New York Rise. Maria Tribal Piece will be here as well as myself and our entire crew. It's been a lot of fun this week. Sydney McCray will lead things off.
So much fun. It's softball in July. Not only is it softball in July, it is professional softball in July. I feel like we watched the Women's College World Series in May, and we're so excited, and we want more, and then what comes next? Now we have pro softball, and I love it. I think this is amazing. Pro softball in New York. Give me all of it.
It's like having your dessert, as Sydney McCray will lead things off. 0 for 2 on the day with a couple of strikeouts. Like we mentioned last inning, if you're just joining us, the 5-2 Chattanooga lead. Chattanooga with two two-run home runs, Sarah Mosley and Morgan Smith. McKenna Smith also with a 2-run home run in the first inning, and an RBI single by Kaylee Tao, giving Chattanooga a 5-2 lead as McCray misses the bunt for strike 1.
Morgan Smith throws with so much velocity, and she has that on the outer half of the plate. Sydney McCray lunges that a little bit, which is why she misses the ball.
Smith, if she could get the 3 outs, in line for the save. Wave and a miss, 0-2. Brooke Yanez started the game off, went 4 innings, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits, walked 1, and struck out 2. Oh-2. And McCray lays off 1-2.
Good 0-2 pitch by Morgan Smith. I wouldn't be surprised if she throws it on that outer half again, but this time more over the plate.
We've got a 3-run cushion. 1-2. That's high, 2-2.
You saw Boggs set up on that outside part, but Smith misses up and in, so I think a little bit of miscommunication or it just got away from her.
Two balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. McCray just trying to get aboard any way she can. A little low, 3-2.
A great take by Sydney McCray. She's doing her job right here, working it back from 0-2. She's leading off this inning. The Rise need base runners. They're trailing by 3 runs. McCray doing everything she can to get 60 feet in front of her.
Smith has struck out her last 2 batters. Make it 3 in a row.
You know what my favorite part of the Morgan Smith strikeouts are the reaction from Boggs behind the plate, the big fist bumps, and that's how you know that pitcher and catcher are just vibing. You feed off of each other, and I think that Morgan Smith is in a groove because Boggs is helping her have the confidence to throw some of these pitches.
Aaliyah Boggs has been a firecracker back there. Here's Ashley Treeweiler. She could hit the ball 700 feet. It wouldn't mean anything. 1 for 3 on the day. Attacks the first pitch and laces it into left field, a base hit.
A great adjustment by Treeweiler. She had this single that she got way out in front of, but it stayed fair in that first inning. And then she's been fouling a lot of balls off to that right side. Now she goes with that outside pitch from Morgan Smith and pokes it through the 5-6 hole to get a base runner that is much needed for the Rise.
Jenna Laird hitless in 3 at-bats. Hit the ball hard to third base last time, but Sarah Mosley was positioned perfectly. Pumps the first pitch foul, 0-1.
Jenna Laird has such a calming presence, both defensively but also offensively. Look at the way that she stands in the box. She's almost completely upright. Her hands are just below her shoulder until the last second when she gets ready to hit, and I think that it's so much fun to watch because then she just strikes and creates all this power.
0-1 pitch. 1-1.
Smith not missing by much on the ones that are called balls, 1 or 2 centimeters off the plate.
Now Smith getting the sign. Treeweiler the runner at first. In the dirt, Treeweiler runs, a throw down to second, and could be obstruction here as it hit Laird. We'll wait to see if there's a call from the umpire. I don't think anything. They're going to give Treeweiler second.
I'd like to see that again just to see where Laird actually was in the box. It might not be anything because she doesn't need to make that effort to get out of the way if she's just standing there because it's a throw to second.
Right. Yeah, she just threw it right into her.
Yeah, that's not on Laird at all, and that's why Treeweiler's allowed to be safe at second because Laird was just completely where she always is. She doesn't have to move out of the way.
2-1, up the middle, and it's through for a base hit. Treeweiler rounding third. Here comes a throw from center field, not in time. Treeweiler gets in ahead of the tag, and RBI single for Jenna Laird makes it 5-3.
I know that the team seems upset with this, but I really think that Ashley Treeweiler is safe and under this tag. That's why that stolen second base is so important because she puts herself in scoring position for Jenna Laird.
And so that's Brandon Carr out there to talk it over with Morgan Smith. Let's take another look.
Ashley Treeweiler gets a great jump off of second base. The throw does beat her, but if you look, that tag doesn't get down in time. Her foot gets underneath, and that's why she's safe.
Good throw from Alea Logaleo. So now the tying run at the plate is Alex Honnold. Honnold single to left her last time up.
This team just needs to breathe, right? You're still up by 2 runs. You have 1 out, a runner on first. Try to get the next one. If you can get the force at second, great, but you're just looking for an out here in this instance.
Pitch a little low.
And with the way Morgan Smith's been pitching, there's nothing to panic about, right? She's been hitting her spots. She's been keeping hitters off balance. If she can continue to do that, she puts her and her team in a good spot.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, already a run home. Pitch, that's high, 2-1.
This is a great hitter's count for Alex Honnold because Morgan Smith does not want to get to 3-1 and have the chance of putting her on base, so you know that she's going to come to her.
Chopped up the middle. Webster's up with it. Her only play is to first. Low throw, not in time. The speed of Honnold haunting the Steam. And look who's coming up.
That ball was chopped perfectly, that it came up in the air long enough that TJ Webster couldn't have a play at second, and she tries to fire it to first, but not in time. Watch it again right here. Alex Honnold just getting out of the box. Oh my goodness, the speed.
Well, decision time.
I'm walking her.
Okay.
I'm doing it. I know that you were going to ask me, but I'm walking her again right here. It doesn't look like that's what the Steam's doing, but I think that's what I would do.
McKenna Smith could play hero and a big hack on the first pitch, 0-1. Back-to-back intentional walks after a 2-run home run in the first inning. She's driven in 8 runs this series. Laird the runner at second, Honnold over at first. One swing could win it for New York. In the dirt, good scoop. Throw down to second, and Laird gets back safely.
That's a huge play by Boggs behind the plate. If that gets away, then you have second and third with Smith up to bat. And then I would definitely walk her in that instance. I'm just intrigued because you walked her the other 2 times, and now a swing of the bat can win the game.
1-1. That's hit in the air, deep left field, hooking foul.
And again, I would still intentionally walk her here because a swing of the bat can win the game. If you walked her in the other 2 instances, I would do the exact same thing here because it's even more prevalent now as opposed to the last 2 times she was up at the plate.
1-2 to McKenna Smith. Outside, pops off the glove. Laird is running to third. Throw to third in time. Laird caught stealing. 2 away.
I normally really like the aggressiveness, but you're down by 2 runs. So in this instance, it doesn't matter if you're on second or third. You're not even the tying run yet. I would have liked to see her play that maybe a bit safer in that instance.
Well, now you've got 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. The worst Smith can do is tie it. Looking to extend it for Sammy Williams. New York down to their final strike. Pitch from Smith. Lined out to right field, ranging over is Busby to make the play, and the ball game is over. Chattanooga wins it 5-3 to even up the series as Morgan Smith picks up the 3-inning save. And a couple of 2-run home runs, an RBI single in the 5th inning is the difference maker, Kaylee Tao, giving Chattanooga a 5-3 lead. New York rallied, but at the end they come up short, Maria.
Amy Davidson wanted her team to have timely hits and play cleanly, and that's exactly what they did. New York really had some great fight at the end of the game, and I think that's something that they really need to take away from this, right? They were in this game. They hit the ball well overall. 1 or 2 things go a little bit differently, then they come out on top on this one. So a lot of good things for the Rise to take away, but you got to give credit to this team. They executed the game plan that they had coming into tonight, especially after that crushing loss yesterday.
Yeah, Brooke Yanez gets the victory after going the first 4 innings for Chattanooga. Lauren Krings comes up with the loss. And we'll have one more regular season game tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Coverage beginning at 12:45 p.m. Well, for our entire crew, this has been a fun night of softball. And that'll do it from Bill Edwards Stadium. For my partner, Maria Trivalpiece, and the rest of our crew, this is John Perez saying so long from Hofstra. This has been a presentation of women's softball on the Varsity Media Sports Network.